Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Nate. I also go by Hockey Boy Nate, and today we're going to be discussing the new updates from the Storm Prediction Center as well as the models across the board of the potential for severe weather into the mid part of this week, into the latter stages of this week. But before we get started, I'm going to have to ask you all to do me a favor, go down below, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, turn on notifications so that you don't miss any of my videos as well as live streams, and share it with your friends, family, or just share it or whatever. Twitter, Facebook, share it on Facebook, and yeah, that'd be great. Let's take a look here at the Storm Prediction Center, and this right here is pretty interesting if I do say so myself, because look at this down here. I'll draw a line right here to X out the fire, because we do have quite a bit of a fire stage. But look, on Wednesday, the Storm Prediction Center has noticed that little event, and they gave it a marginal, which is a 5% chance for any sort of conditions. So that's pretty interesting. But another thing to note here is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They have designated a 15% chance for severe weather in those stages, and that is really interesting too. So a potential multi-day severe weather event in the latter stages of this week could be possible according to the Storm Prediction Center. But let's get into the marginal. Let's take a look and see what they're saying here. So southwest marginal threat for severe thunderstorms with hail, strong wind gusts will be possible from parts northern Oklahoma into western Missouri from late Wednesday afternoon through Wednesday night. So they're saying that there is not really a lot of a chance for tornadoes, but gusty winds and hail is possible. But they're not pulling the trigger for tornadoes just yet, and that's fair. That's very fair for how far out this event is. They're saying that Cape values are 500 to 1,000 joules per kilogram range. They're not accounting for central Oklahoma because they think it might be too capped in that area. But it's still something to keep in mind. And also, one more thing to note that I just noticed is that this forecaster, Broyles, right here, he's, in my opinion, one of the better forecasters of the Storm Prediction Center. And I actually kind of agree with this for right now as a kind of a preliminary forecast. Once we get closer and closer to the actual day in itself, then we'll probably be able to tell. But definitely, I was actually kind of anticipating the marginal to extend down just a little bit, maybe down here into excuse me, that's the second time that's happened on stream, well, video. Yeah, I was expecting the marginal to extend down a little bit, but it does reach bits of northern Oklahoma, so I can't complain. But yeah, has decent cape, has decent dew points in the 50s. Instability will increase along this corridor, which is true. Shows a capping inversion this afternoon, but gradually weaken the cap during the evening, which we also have seen that. We'll also show you guys that in the on pivotal weather in a second. Low-level jet strengthens during the evening, and so it goes from 1,000 to 1,500 joules per kilogram, with lapse rates approaching 8, which is actually pretty strong. We haven't seen lapse rates in upwards of 8 since the end of last year's severe weather season. So this could be the indication here officially that we are in severe weather. And lapse rates, you know, as this does mention here in this text right here, should support a hail threat. Usually when you hear the word or the phrase lapse rates, that could indicate as to what type of hail you're getting or if you're getting any hail. So the larger the lapse rates, the larger the hail. The smaller the lapse rates, or even if it's below, say, 7, if I hear like a 6 or something like that, then it isn't really going to produce a lot of hail, if any. So something to keep in mind with that. Now, we do want to take a look here at the day 5, day 6, and day 7. And this is really interesting here. So let's read into what these guys have here. Medium range models begin to the day 4 through 8 period in good agreement. Model solutions show southwest mid-level flow for the south central U.S. into the northeast an upper level low is forecasted to be over Southern California, which we did mention this a couple videos earlier, that there was going to be another low pressure that was moving in behind. We actually mentioned that yesterday for the flooding in the Midwest, but we didn't really want to pull the trigger on severe weather yet because it's kind of sketchy in my honest opinion. But now Storm Prediction Center has all the confidence in the world to issue all of these 15%. So at the surface, a cold front is forecast to advance southeastward across the southern plains, Ozarks, mid-Mississippi Valley. Thunderstorm development will be possible along parts of the front during the afternoon and evening. Although instability is forecast to be weak ahead of the front Thursday afternoon, strong deep level shear, which that's what's been buzzing through the entire U.S., so there's going to be a lot of deep layer shear that is going to be impacting the U.S. through the next week, maybe week and a half. Should be adequate for at least isolated severe storms. The severe weather threat should extend from northwest Texas, northeast Ozarks, the Ozarks into the lower Ohio Valley. Hail and wind damage will be primary threats, which they should be. They should be primary threats. Another thing here is that this is broils as well, so the day 4 through 8 outlook was all broils, and he's pulling the trigger on 3 days, so that's pretty crazy if I do say so myself. Friday models are in good agreement. Models suggest that thunderstorm development will be possible along and near the front during the afternoon and evening. The greatest potential for severe storms would be Oklahoma eastward into Arkansas, where low-level moisture, deep layer shear, and instability are forecast to be maximized, which actually is true because it's further south towards the Gulf of Mexico. You'll see that the Gulf of Mexico typically has a lot of energy, and so if we go over to, let's see, we go over to day 6 real quickly, you can see how the risk goes down further south because there's more moisture that's advecting up north. So with that moisture that moves up, then you'll see more and more moisture that could just fit into this gap right here, and it'll continue to produce more and more thunderstorms. And that's kind of the reason why you don't see a lot more severe weather near Colorado and New Mexico and stuff like that, because there's not really a lot of moisture to reach up. It just kind of stays right here. That's also kind of the reason why Georgia doesn't see a whole lot of severe weather, only when there's like this giant cold front that's already moving in, but never like pop-up storms originally in Georgia. So just a nice little tidbit there for you all. Greatest risk potential for severe storms would be Oklahoma eastward into Arkansas, where low-level moisture, deep layer shear, and instability are forecast to be maximized. So that was on Friday. Let's see. 60 plus surface dew points appears to be likely the afternoon on Saturday, as well as instability seems to be increasing. All severe hazards will be possible, but the magnitude and spatial extent of the severe threat will depend upon the moisture return and eastern timing of the system. So basically, if you were to take anything from those block of texts that I just read, is that day 5, 6, and 7, which day 5 is Friday, day 6 is Saturday, and day 7 is Sunday. If you were to take anything from what I said there, is that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday could be a multi-severe weather event, or maybe even outbreak. I'll say outbreak because it's severe weather and it's not a tornado outbreak, but a possible multi-day severe weather outbreak that could impact the Central Plains into the eastern Deep South. So that's something that we all should keep in mind here. Let's take a look at the models here. And well, first things first, we're going to take a look at our event on Wednesday, because that's the event that we've been looking at the most. And we're going to see if things have really changed a whole lot. But the thing of it is that now we don't just have the GFS model to use. We now have the North American model, or the NAM, which, by the way, if any of you are members of my YouTube channel, you don't have to be a member if you're not already. It's just $5 a month. But if you're a member of my YouTube channel, Can I get some in the NAMs we trust in the comment down below? That would be great. But yeah, the NAM has officially seen this event and it's in its crosshairs, so we might as well take a look at what the NAM says of this event completely. So here's Wednesday morning. You can see the low pressure system moving on through, and there's your thunderstorms. There's your thunderstorms right there. So eastern Kansas definitely seems to be a good initiation point and a good call right now for a marginal. Let's take a look at the next model run that it has. And yeah, there's more thunderstorms that initiate in Kansas right here. So definitely something to keep in mind, that areas near Wichita, south of Topeka, maybe into Kansas City and stuff like that, you guys could likely be impacted by gusty winds and some large hail. Maybe a tornado, but it's really hard to say for sure this far out. Let's take a look at the supercell composite real quickly just to see what conditions are looking like across the board here. Look at this. So this is in southern Kansas actually. So if it's on the southern end of the line, oh yeah, I mean it's a little bit elevated, just a little bit, but otherwise look at this. I was talking to you guys earlier about how to read soundings and stuff like that. So the hodograph does curl off to the side, which means that this is a tornadic hodograph. This does check out. This right here, we were checking out as to where the cape was, and in here is all the convective available potential energy, which is, if you're new, it's just the measure of energy in the atmosphere, the amount of buoyant force that is measured that could be able to either sustain or initiate thunderstorms. So usually, I'd said before, usually you want around 750 to 2,000 joules per kilogram, and the NAM actually says that it actually will get over 2,000 joules per kilogram, which is kind of interesting. The capping inversion actually is a lot less than I thought it was. The GFS actually wanted it a bit more capped in that specific area in Kansas, but now it's just around negative 60 joules per kilogram. So that's really surprising, honestly. Another thing that's really surprising is the K index. K index is 43, which means that thunderstorms could very well develop in those areas. And so that's really interesting. So just as a preliminary, if I were to focus on a specific area for thunderstorms and try and figure out, which areas would probably be the most likely to do the most damage, I would say somewhere along the lines of southern Kansas. But if you want guaranteed thunderstorms, eastern Kansas into Missouri is the way. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as this event passes on through. Now, the NAM, in my opinion, is a whole lot better in regards to severe weather than the GFS. But once we get into some of these other model runs that actually can start to see this event a bit more clearly, do we have anything that I can actually see this event a bit more clearly? 66. Okay, so we don't have that in the crosshairs. We don't have anything else that can see this event just quite yet. But the NAM still says that there could be some severe storms in eastern Kansas, and south central Kansas, in my opinion, definitely needs to be on watch here. Oklahoma, I will say this, it is elevated, so you do have a chance for just straight up hail and gusty winds, but the real issue here is, can these storms initiate? So Oklahoma, decent chance. Kansas, almost guaranteed chance to get some thunderstorms, and if you're in southern Kansas, you really need to watch out. All right, let's move over to the GFS, and we need to go take a look. Oh geez, GFS says that there's going to be some stuff down in south central Kansas too. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, that if both models are saying that something is saying down here, you definitely need to watch out. But we're not going to be looking at the GFS for this event anymore. We're going to be looking at this event on a wider scale. Actually, let's pull up Weather Bell. Those graphics are indeed nice, I will admit. GFS, and we're gonna want to do multi-parameter 3-hour thickness. Okay, so let's take a look at this event in a uh bit more in-depth analysis here from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you can see here, this is Wednesday morning. The low pressure that we've been talking about moves on through. You can see the line of storms that actually extend into Oklahoma, and then you can see the rain that billows up into the Ohio River Valley. Now here's Friday morning. Friday morning is here, and you can see, well, you can barely see, there's a low pressure system right here that follows in behind the original low pressure system from Wednesday. And you can see as that pushes on through, you can get a lot of severe storms that can just kind of rile up in Oklahoma in just this small margin of area. So the low pressure system kind of just stalls out here, and then as it continues to move into Saturday, look at this. Giant low pressure system, giant cold front, and you can definitely see a risk of severe storms in here, especially with this warm front right here. So warm front, this is a terrible warm front drawing. And then cold front. And the thing about it is too, is that this might actually have a full dry line with it, which would be pretty cool. So yeah, right in that area, Oklahoma down into Texas, you can definitely see some severe weather, which if some of you wanted to see severe weather and you were like, ah, darn it, you know, there's a good chance that we might not see severe weather on Wednesday, fret not, because you might actually see it sooner rather than later. So Oklahoma and Texas on Saturday, you guys have a massive cold front that actually is just pushing on through. Real quickly, I do want to take a look at the dew points. And yeah, that's a massive dry line. Look at this. The dew points actually get up into the lower 60s, which is actually not too bad. But that is a massive cold front. It's just a steep drop off and a dry line that is just surging on through. I mean, look at this. This could actually be conducive for really good gusty winds with this just bowing arc. So yeah, Jesus, the 60 dews go all the way up into Kansas. That is really, really strong. So you could definitely see some gusty winds and all that. And all of that mess. Sheesh. So, let's go back over to the low pressure system here. This is overnight Saturday into Sunday. And look at this. Next line of storms start to form, and personally, I think they put the day 7 outlook a bit further back than it should be, but right in here, good event right here that could transpire, especially with the the cold front that'll be pushing on through. So that's something to keep in mind there. And this is the event that I was talking about before, or at least I mentioned a little bit, that could be coming through in the 15th. It was just so hard to try and pull the trigger on for severe weather, but we kind of knew that there was going to be some gusty winds as we called out yesterday. So, Storm Prediction Center agrees, and so we had to call it out here today. All right, let's take a look at the parameters according to the GFS. It is a bit far out, but we're still going to want to take a look and see the conditions out for this system. So, okay, so yeah, there is definitely a bit of cape that seeps into Oklahoma during its stay on Friday. Now on Saturday, there isn't really a whole lot of cape, which is to be expected. So there might be just a bit more of a gusty wind threat. And then on Sunday, a lot of the cape seems to rear its head a bit more into the south central or the deep south areas. So there isn't really a whole lot of energy according to the GFS, but that very well could change as we get closer and closer. So that's something to really keep in mind. There's some cape over in Oklahoma and Kansas. Oh boy, so we might have some cold cores. Maybe that photograph is terrible, but might actually have some storms that develop with how cold it is over there. But there's still enough cape to be able to produce energy and be able to initiate thunderstorms, maybe. So we'll have to see. But yeah, that's my little quick-ish update. Mainly because I have to go to work in 30 minutes, and I'm not sure if you can see the time down at the bottom right-hand corner, but it is 6 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to have to end this video here. But just the general overview. If you were to take anything out of this video, it would be that Wednesday is still a go for severe weather in eastern Kansas into little parts of northern Oklahoma, and that there could possibly be a multi-day severe weather event into the latter parts of this week. So on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So anyways, guys, that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and click that notification bell so that you do not miss any of my future content, whether it is videos or live streams where we discuss an in-depth analysis as to what all is happening on severe weather days live. All of it is live, so I communicate with you all, and I also am able to discuss the storms at hand and be able to tell you all where these storms are going and who it can impact. Also, be sure to share it on Facebook, Twitter, stuff like that, so that people know that by the end of this week there could be some severe weather happening in the plains again. And be careful what you wish for, because there could be a good start to the severe weather season. So anyways, that's it for me. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.